Hi, everyone. Welcome to Wild Breakaway with Mike Greenlay. I'm Audra Martin. A lot of Wild fans, even the players, were a bit surprised hearing the news yesterday that Bill Guerin had decided to part ways with head coach Bruce Boudreau and promote Dean Evason to be the interim head coach. Unfortunately for Dean, game one of his head coaching career did not go the way that he would have hoped. The Wild blanked for the fourth time this season, falling 2-0 to the San Jose Sharks behind a very impressive Martin Jones between the pipes.
He hasn't been impressive lately, but he saved it all up for the Minnesota Wild. And, you want to look at both positives and negatives. Obviously, not scoring a goal is a big negative for the Wild, but the Wild penalty kill continues to stay alive, which is very important, especially when you're chasing for a playoff spot. To have a strong penalty kill is absolute. You have to have one. And their goaltending was good. I thought Alex Stalock played a pretty good game in this one. The Wild did get their shots. They got their attempts at the net, like 65, 70 attempts at the net, which those are great numbers. Most coaches will tell you if you're above the 60 mark in terms of attempts at the net, then that means you're in the right spots to score. The Wild, unfortunately, ran into a team that was a little bit shorthanded, and so they locked things down a lot more than maybe they normally would, and they took the middle of the ice away. And when you do that, you don't usually get the kind of scoring chances on the second, third chances that you need to beat goaltenders. And Martin Jones is a good-sized goaltender, so a lot of those first attempts just didn't go past him.
Yeah, a tough one here for the Wild, who had the advantage in a lot of key categories, including those shots that you were talking about. A big advantage there, 39-21 in favor of the Minnesota Wild. The Sharks came into this one with the league-leading PK, and we saw why. They were a perfect 3 for 3. Unfortunately, the Wild, the red-hot power play cooled off a bit over the last two games. They were 0 for 5 in the last pair of contests. But all in all, it was the first game of Dean Evason's career as a head coach in the NHL, something he had been dreaming about. And so you can imagine the excitement he felt when he took to his new job behind the bench.
Yeah, I mean, you like it to be a little more positive, but yeah, it's like, once you get back in that spot when you've been there before, it feels right, it feels good. So, it was nice to be behind the bench like that again.
So now Dean Evason and the Wild will get back to work for a few days. They have 3 days off before they will head out west to take on a couple of Canadian teams starting Wednesday night against the Vancouver Canucks, followed by a Friday night showdown with the Edmonton Oilers. It's the first time since mid-December the Wild will play multiple games in a row on the road. So maybe a change of scenery will be a good thing for this team right now.
Yeah, definitely. It changes the dynamic a little bit for the Minnesota Wild. They'll have to battle a pretty tough a couple of tough buildings to win in Vancouver and Edmonton. Vancouver will probably have back Pettersson. They didn't have him the last time the Wild played them, when the Wild were able to beat them. And then when they go to Edmonton, Connor McDavid will not be in the lineup. I think that thigh injury is going to keep him out, but they still have plenty of weapons, Draisaitl being one of them. So the Wild will have to concentrate on their game, continue to get those shot attempts, try and find a way to get the power play jumped back to where it was. And hopefully the Wild can go on the road now that they're kind of at now that they're at the tail end of that long string of mostly home games. Now they'll start to juggle the season a little bit more. A couple are on the road, a couple at home, and bounce around like that the rest of the way, which is actually good because it gives players a different perspective. You don't get stale being either always on the road or always at home. So hopefully the Wild can take advantage of the different nuances of both of those to get themselves going down the stretch, because, we say, 24, 25 games is a lot of time left. But, it's funny how quickly those get eaten up. And if you're not putting the 2 points up on the board every time, all of a sudden you're staring at it and there's like 12 games left and you're saying, well, now we got to win 10 of 12. So you don't want to put yourself in that situation.
Definitely not. Well, hopefully the Wild will be able to turn things around and pick up the first win for head coach Dean Evason. It's the rubber match between the Canucks and the Wild on Wednesday night. We hope you join us then. For Mike Greenlay, I'm Audra Martin. Thanks for joining us tonight on Wild Breakaway.